is because the temperature can be changed and change the taste of the wine if you hold it like this. So by holding it from the stem, the heat does not transfer through the stem of the glass. So if you ever want to know why wine glasses look like wine glasses, that's the reason. Okay? I'd like you to take the glass and turn it sideways slightly like this, and then I want you to hold it right over your tasting sheet. I want you to look through your wine as if it's a looking glass, and ironically you'll find that wine has magnifying qualities.
Wow.
So if you forgot your cheaters in the car, you can be cool and just read the menu through your wine and the world will never know it. You can say, I'm analyzing your wine. Okay? Now what you can tell about the wine by its clarity or lack of, if you can't read through the wine at all, it is a full-bodied wine. If you can kind of read through it, it's more of a medium wine experience, and if it's very easy to read through, it's a light-bodied experience. The body is the same idea as the weight. Okay, when I was a kid, I grew up on whole milk, but I can't do it anymore. It's just way too heavy, okay? My son said, Dad, will you drink 1% because, you know, you're getting older, thanks. Okay, and I said, no, I can't because it's like drinking milk with water in it. It's too skinny for me, basically. So think of wine the same way. It may be too heavy for you, it may be too light for you, or it might be just right, okay? So you have to determine what is just right for you, and everybody is different, okay? White wine drinkers don't care for red because they say they're Tem, and I want you to give it a spin. All right, spin it really vigorously. Now, some people aren't really good spinners, so I'll give you option B here, okay? If you're not a good spinner, you can take your glass and put it on the table. Take these two fingers and put them on either side of the stem, and then just draw a big circle. And just so you know, even some of the connoisseurs prefer to spin the wine on the table as opposed to free spin. Okay? All right, now I'd like you to hold the glass about eye level, and you'll see where the wine was turning in the glass, and then you'll start to notice these little lines that drizzle down the sides of the glass. This is telling you one thing, that the alcohol is present. Okay? If this was water, aroma experience. You don't smell beer, you don't smell whiskey, but you do smell wine. And if you don't get the right aroma, you're not going to get the full experience. So 80% of taste is aroma when it comes to wine. We use the restaurant next door as a great backdrop. Luciano's wonderful. You maybe even smelled it when you were walking in the parking lot. It's such a nice experience. And you get there and you go, man, I can't wait to eat. It smells so good here. Well, it's a nice place. So this young lady, she got a little perfume going on, got all dressed up, and he broke out the Old Spice and wine. So we're going to do 3 quick mini experiments here. Don't spin the glass, don't move the glass, but I want you to just pick it up and bring it right to your nose and take a deep breath. Breathe it in. Okay?
I'm drunk.
Now, when you spin the glass, you're actually causing chemistry. You're causing the fumes to rise in the glass. So give it a spin, and then bring it back up to your nose again and smell it a second time. Okay? Now we're going to take this to an extreme. Let's say that there's just way too much going on your glass, and give it the spin. By doing this, you're trapping the chemistry, but the chemistry still occurs. So the fumes are rising in the glass. All right? So bring it right up to your nose, hand out of the way, nose and deep breath.
Wow.
Okay, she got the free buzz over here. I think somebody over here got one. All right? Okay, the third one was very, very strong. So if you've got a lot of things going on in the background and you really want to focus in on the wine experience, you can do it that way. Okay, the final part is the fun part. It's called tasting. Okay, now we're going to break this into 2 experiences. You always got to try wine twice. The first one sets the tone, and the second one is the truer, more honest experience. And I'll say this, unless some of you started the party in the parking lot, and I may be suspicious of some here, okay, then I'm going to presume that nobody had any alcohol before they walked in the door. The first time you sample alcohol, and specifically wine, which has an acidic in it, you're going to get a derived bitterness. Okay, so even if you like this wine, you're still going to taste more of the negatives than the positives. So let's just give it a little spin. Okay, and then I want you to breathe it in. And then take a small sip and swish it around your mouth for a few seconds, and then swallow the wine. Try it one more time. Same thing, spin the glass, and breathe it in, and then a small sip, swish it around again, and then swallow the wine. You should notice that although it might not be perfect, it should have softened the edge a little bit, not quite as harsh as the first time, okay? And just so you know, we start with the boldest wine, a chemistry set, okay? And if you get the chemistry wrong, it could be a great wine, it could be a great meal, but if the two don't work together, it's a bad combination, and you're not gonna like it, okay? And this is where I can give you all the rules in the book, but you're gonna find out that you individually react to certain chemical blends differently than everybody else, okay? And that doesn't make it wrong or right, it's just your nature, okay? I'm not a spicy fan, but my wife likes the heat, so when we eat spicy foods, I have to get the milder version or I can't handle it. We both like the same food, but not in the same way, okay? So the combination of food that we're gonna do here, you're gonna have this dry wine, and we're gonna pass around some chocolate. Okay, now specifically dark chocolate, okay? If you do dry wine and sweet chocolate, you get bitter. But if you do dry wine and dark chocolate, you get a complement of chemistries, if you will. So what I want you to do, I want you to have a sample of the wine first. Just sample the wine. Then I would like you to enjoy some of the chocolate that we're going to give you. And then follow up and try the wine a second time. And then we'll just have a mini discussion about the wine and chocolate experience. The acid in red wine. White meat and white wine. Think of white meats. When you cook them, there's a lot of grease in the pan, especially when you fry. Well, white wine degreases grease. It cuts it. And it converts it more to like a sauce rather than just the oily factor. If you're going to go sweet, then you want to go with sweet wine. Because if you're going to have, like I said earlier, sweet and dry gets you bitter. Okay, because they're too far apart. So complement the level of sweetness with the level of sweetness in the wine. Okay, so discard, and then we'll go on to this next one. Try to give equal time for the visual, because sometimes I don't like to have everybody with me to their back through the whole thing. So wine has been in containers of all different kinds over the centuries. This was one of the first. It was adopted in the Middle East by the Egyptians, the Chinese, and the Greeks, and this was called an amphora. Very heavy and not very efficient, okay? You can't cork one of these, okay? So when you made wine back then in that era, and this was the way to, serve the wine, you actually drank it almost right away. You didn't let it age at all because it slowly, or it very quickly would age and turn to vinegar almost in a few hours. Now the Greeks actually fell upon a secret. It was strictly by accident. Somebody experimented by putting olive oil in the top of the amphora. Olive oil and wine do not mix. The olive oil would float on the top of the wine, but it would go all the way to the edges of the amphora. Oxygen didn't permeate the olive oil, so the wine would actually last about 6 months. So that was a great experiment that turned out to be one of the best natural preservatives back in the day. So merely by putting olive oil on top of the wine, it preserved it for 6 months, where it would have only been good for a couple of days. Okay? Now this was a bad container because it was also very heavy. In order to transport the wine from point A to point B, you had to build very special wagons, or the ships that they built. Many of them that they built to transfer amphorae from Greece to Italy, the ship didn't make the trip. It sank because it was just too heavy. They didn't know how to engineer it strong enough to withstand the weight of this and the weight of the ship itself. You get a real diehard red wine fanatic, and their friend says, "Do you have any ice cubes?" They're having a heart attack on you. But don't worry, I won't beat you up if you're the ice cube crowd. I will defend you, actually. Okay? But here's the reality. Red wine should be served at room temperature, but it's actually cooler than the experts lead you to think. Room temperature for wine is 60 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit, but we think of room temperature as 68 degrees overall. Okay? Room temperature for white wine, or serving temperature for white wine, is chilled, but not as cold as we normally do. The proper temperature for white wine is 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But most of us, we don't have wine cellars, so where do we chill our white wine? In the refrigerator. Your home refrigerator should be set at 38 degrees Fahrenheit. That's for food safety, but it's a little too cold for the wine. So how do I serve wine appropriately? It's called the 15-minute rule, and it's quite easy to follow. 15 minutes before dinner, you take your red wine and you put it in the fridge. In those 15 minutes, the temperature will go from about whatever room temperature was, 72, 68 degrees, down to that 60, 64. 15 minutes before you're gonna have white wine with dinner, you take it out of the fridge and pour it into the glasses. In 15 minutes, you go, hey everybody, dinner is served. The wine will rise to about 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're always gonna serve the wine at the appropriate temperature. If you choose to chill your wine, rather than using ice cubes, okay, you can use frozen fruit. In white wine, white grapes, and red wine, red grapes, and sweet wines, strawberries, raspberries, peaches, okay? So this way, you're gonna attain that temperature level that you enjoy, but you're not gonna take away the flavor because ice obviously is gonna melt and dilute the heck out of the wine, okay? So temperature is very important, but I get it. A white wine drinker is gonna throw some ice cubes in red wines because they're, again, remember that too heavy factor? By adding the water, the ice cubes, it's gonna bring it down and soften it to the level that a white wine person might like, okay? So those are your options. The wine that you have in front of you is a wine from